Hello everyone. Welcome to today's tutorial on human activity recognition using signal feature extraction and SVM classifier in MATLAB. I'm Shanti. I work as a senior online course developer at MathWorks, makers of MATLAB and Simulink. In this session, we will begin by defining the engineering problem we are trying to solve today. Next, we'll explore a solution to this engineering problem, walking through the key steps and consideration. After that, I'll guide you through getting started with MATLAB Online, ensuring that you have the tools you need to follow along with me. After that, we'll move on to the hands-on activity where we will extract signal features and apply support vector machine classifiers in MATLAB. I encourage you all to try out the examples I'm showing us in this session today. We'll end the tutorial by summarizing the key takeaways and with a Q&A session. If you have any questions in between, please post them in the chat and we'll try to address them then and there. We can also discuss them in detail during the Q&A session. One thing I would like to emphasize today in this tutorial is today's tutorial focuses on using MATLAB to develop a machine learning classifier without going deep into theoretical concepts. So talking about the engineering problem we are solving today, we all know that smartphones today are packed with many sensors, and one of the most important is the accelerometer sensor. It's the same sensor that helps your phone rotate the screen, track your steps, or even support fitness apps. Now, while these accelerometers generate a continuous stream of data about how we move or what are the activities we perform, the raw signals themselves are quite messy. They include noise, drift, and a lot of irrelevant information. So that's where the engineering challenge comes in. The question here is, how do we take this raw data and turn it to something useful, like recognizing whether someone is sitting, standing, walking, or running? So this is the engineering challenge we'll be addressing in MATLAB today. So talking about the general workflow for solving this engineering problem, or talking about the general workflow for signal classification, we begin with raw accelerometer data. Then in the pre-processing stage, we reduce noise, correct drift, and extract meaningful features from both time and frequency domains. Those features are then passed into machine learning algorithms, which learn to recognize movement patterns. Finally, the model can classify the activity, giving us an accurate picture of what the user is doing. So these are the general steps which we will be solving today to address our engineering challenge. So as the first step to solve the engineering problem, we'll get started with MATLAB Online. All the registered learners to this NPTEL course, Neural Networks for Signal Processing, have access to MATLAB Online and have access to these many set of products. So at the end of the session, I'll share the solution live script for your future reference. For now, I'm sharing the work live script in the chat so that you can practice along with me. The work script has placeholders to enter the code, which we will do together during the hands-on activity. Next, we will see how to access MATLAB Online provided for this course. So for that, first go to Neural Networks for Signal Processing NPTEL course page, where you will find the instructions to access MATLAB Online. So in the NPTEL course page, Neural Networks for Signal Processing course page, on the left, you can see an option called MATLAB. Click on that, and it will have two options, MATLAB Access and MATLAB Training. Click on MATLAB Access. So which will give you a series of steps as mentioned here to access MATLAB online for this course. So to access MATLAB online, click on the step 2 link here, access MATLAB for your NPTEL course. So once you click on the link in step 2, you will land onto the page where it says access MATLAB online. Click on that option, access MATLAB online, which will take you to the MATLAB online browser, which the URL will say matlab.mathworks.com. So this is how you access MATLAB online for your NPTEL course. So let me share the work script in the chat so that you can download it and work along with me when I do the hands-on activity. I'm also sharing the required data set for today's session. So please download the work script and the .mat file, which I shared in the chat. Now we'll see how to upload the work script to your MATLAB drive, and we'll start with the hands-on activity. For that, first click on Open MATLAB Online. So MATLAB Online will load in the browser. Let's first upload the work script which we are working today for our session. So for that, on the left side, you can see Files pane and Workspace pane. So right click on the Files pane section where you will see multiple options. Click on Upload Files and locate where you have downloaded the work script. So select the work script and also select the .mat file, which is a required data set for today's session, and click on Open. So once uploading is completed, it will show in a dialog box, uploaded 1 files. And if you have uploaded the .mat file, it will show uploaded 3 files. And once uploading is completed, click on OK. So now let us adjust the screen, the editor window, so that it is a little more larger to work on the hands-on activity. For that, the left panel, Files and Workspace pane, you can click on the left side to minimize that Files pane, and you can also minimize the command window by clicking on the button Command window at the top bottom of the screen. And now let's open the work script, which we uploaded. So this is the work script for today's session. And you have the table of contents here, which is linked to a specific section. So if you click on a specific title, it will redirect you to the specific section of that live script. So the problem statement for today is to classify human activity signals using machine learning classifier. So for that, first step is to access and visualize data. Let's load the human activity dataset from the .mat file into the MATLAB workspace and then display the information about the variables in the workspace. So in line number 2, let's load the .mat file, which is saved in activity.mat. So we'll use the load function to load the contents of the file into the workspace and to display a summary of the variables which are currently in the workspace. Let's call out whose function. And let's execute this section and see the results. To run a particular section in the live script, you can click on the Run Current Section button in the Tools strip. Let's run the section and analyze the results. I'm also posting the code in the chat so that you can work along with me. So here, if you analyze the results, we have in the dataset, we have 4 variables: act ID, act names, act sig, and FS. So here, FS is the sample rate of accelerometer sensor data that we have loaded to the workspace, and act sig is where our accelerometer sensor data signal is being saved. And if you see the size, it is 7776 by 1. So that means we have 7776 signals. And this is a cell array. And we also have some act names and act ID. Now let's see, let's display the human activity signal and analyze the data set further. So for that, display the human activity signal. So as I mentioned, act sig is the variable name where we have saved the human activity data. Let's run this section as well and see what is the result. So here we have a data set which contains 7776 signals extracted with same segments. That is, we have all the signals with 44 samples per signal, which is having equal signal length. So this is a cell array. Now, to train a model that can classify your signals, each data point needs to have an associated tag indicating its category. And these tags are known as labels. The human activity signals which we are using for this example are already labeled. And in MATLAB, there are options to label the signals if it is unlabeled signal dataset. For now, the human activity signals are already labeled, and let's display the class labels and the activity identification number. So the next task is to display the class label, which is saved in variable act names. And also we will display the activity identification number, which is saved in the variable act ID. Let's run this section. Now the act names, activity names are sitting, standing, walking, and running. So we have 4 activities performed by the volunteers when we collected this data set. And we also have the activity identification number. The activity identification number is marked as 1, 2, 3, and 4, representing these 4 activities. Now, the next task is to convert the activity names to categorical data. So this is important because many deep learning and machine learning functions are designed to work seamlessly with categorical data. Now we'll convert the activity names from cell array to categorical, and then we'll map each numerical identifier or activation identification number to its corresponding activity name. For that, we will use a function called categorical to convert our cell array to categorical variable. So let's save this to lbcat, and we'll use the function categorical. And as an input, we will give act names, which is our activity names. And in the next step, we are going to map each of these numerical identifier to its corresponding activity name. So for that, we will save it to a variable called labels, which we will use it later in this activity. And lbcat, which is our categorical activity name, and we will map it with our activity ID. Let's run this section. So here we have mapped each element in the activity name with corresponding to the index specified in act ID. And we have the final labels saved in the variable labels. Now that you have the labeled data set, you can look at a signal from each of the 4 human activity by some visualization. So for that, we can use a function called unique, which will help you to find one signal from each of the class. So we have 4 classes here. So we will select one signal from each of these class, and then we will do the visualization to understand better about the signal patterns and the trends for each of these activities. Let's call it as the output, 2 outputs, LB4 and IDX, and use a function called unique of labels. So what this does is, this function does is, this will return 4 unique label names. And now we will save these 4 signals from each class, each unique class, to a cell array called sig4. So ActSig is where we have our entire data set. So we are going to save one signal from each class to a sub cell array. Let's run this function. So we have now 4 unique signals and labels saved to a variable sig4 and LB4 respectively. Now we will visualize these 4 unique signals. So for visualizing the signals in time domain, we can use the plot function. So since we are here going to visualize multiple signals, I have written here a small local function, a helper function for plotting multiple signals. This function name is plot signals. This is a simple function where I have used the plot function and some of the formatting for plotting it in a structured form. So let's use this plot signals function with 2 inputs, sig4 and the LB4, and visualize the signals from each class. Let's call this function first, plot signals. And we'll have 2 inputs to this local function. First input is our sub cell array, sig4, and next is the corresponding labels. So this label input is used to give titles for each plot so that we can identify which signal belongs to which class. Let's run this section and visualize the signal. So here we have 4 plots, 4 signals, mainly from 4 different classes. So if you observe this 4 different signals, we can say that all signals have same number of samples, which is 44 samples, and signals have different peak characteristics. Peak characteristics in the sense it have different peak location, it has different peak amplitude. So these are some of the relevant features which we can extract to identify these signals when training the machine learning classifier. The next step after acquiring the data and labeling the data is to pre-process it. So this phase involves the initial transformation, which is applied to our raw data before further processing or analysis. There are different data pre-processing steps, and we will be using here filtering as a pre-processing step to clean our signal. So for the accelerometer signals or the human activity signals we calculated, there are two different types of variations occurring in this acceleration signals. There are fast variations and there are slow variations in the signals. So fast variations over time is mainly due to the body dynamics, mainly due to the physical movements of the person. And slow variations over time is occurring due to the position of the body with respect to the vertical gravitational field. So our objective here is to classify the physical activity. So our focus is on classifying the physical activities. Hence, we should focus on time domain analysis on the effect of body movements. So whatever variations is in the body position with respect to the vertical gravitational field is not relevant for us, right? So we are going to isolate those rapid signal variations from the slower ones. So for that, we are applying a high pass filter to the original signal. Hence, the next task is to apply a high pass filter with a passband frequency of 0.7 hertz to the first activity signal. So let's see and analyze the result after applying the high pass filter to the first activity signal. To apply a high pass filter in MATLAB, we already have a built-in function called high pass. Let's use that and let's save the result of the filtered signal to a variable called ACTSig filter. We are going to use a high pass function and the input is the signal which you want to where we want to apply the filter. So ACTSig of 1 because we are applying the high pass filter only to the first activity signal just to analyze the results. And next input is the passband frequency, which is 0.7. And the final input is the sampling rate, which is already saved in variable fs. Let's run this let's run this section and see the results. So we got a filtered activity signal where for each element it has applied the high pass filter. Now we need to apply the high pass filter to all the signals in the cell array. So we have 7,000 plus signals in our original data set, which is saved in ACTSig cell array. To apply a high pass filter in this data set, either you have to use a for loop to apply to each signal individually, or you in MATLAB you can pass the high pass function to a specific function called cell fund because our data set is a cell array. So we can use a function called cell fund and apply the high pass filter to all the signals in the cell array with just one line of code. So that is what I have written in line number 40. But this, as the data set is having more than 7,000 plus signals, it will take some time to complete this execution. So due to time constraint, I have already run this particular section and I have saved the filtered signal in a .mat file, which I have already provided. So let's uncomment this particular comment, code line number 41, and let's load the final filtered signal. Let's run this code and see the filtered activity signal. So here we have a filtered activity signal. We have not changed any dimension. We have the same size for the filtered signal before applying the signal, before applying the high pass filter. We have 777 cell array and each cell having 44 samples signals. Till now, we have loaded the activity signal. We have imported the labels as well for our human activity data set. And we have applied pre-processing steps to clean the signals or to filter out the unwanted information from our activity signal. The next step in the AI workflow is to extract relevant features from our signal. So this process of extracting the key information from the raw data and using that to train models instead of raw data is this process is called feature extraction. So during this feature extraction, the process identifies the most discriminating signal characteristics which we can use to train a machine learning or a deep learning algorithm, which they can consume it very easily and provide the expected result. So for feature extraction, uh, there are multiple features we can extract from a signal. It can be like time-based, time domain-based features, or it can be frequency domain features, or it can be a mix of time and frequency domain features from a signal. So writing code to extract each feature might be often tedious. Instead, you can simplify this process of feature extraction using feature extractor objects in MATLAB. So today we will be using the signal feature extractor object to extract features from our human activity signals. First, we'll create a signal time feature extractor object so that we can use this object to extract time-based or time domain-based features from our signal. For that, let's write the code for extracting the time domain features from the signal. So the function name here to extract or to create a feature extractor object is signal time feature extractor. And we'll mention what all features we want to extract from the particular signal. So here I have defined 4 features, which is mean, RMS, shape factor, and peak value. So all these features are set to true, and the sample rate is set to FS. Let's run this code and see the extractor object. So time FE is the signal time feature extractor object, and these are the properties. We have enabled these 4 features, and there are many more features which we have not used today for this time domain features. Based on the application, you can select which feature you want to extract from the signal. Next is we'll create a frequency feature extractor object so that we can extract frequency domain features from our signal. So for that also, we can use another feature extractor object called signal frequency feature extractor object, and we'll write a code for that by setting or enabling the required features which we need to extract. So we have used here peak amplitude, peak location, mean frequency, peak location, band power, and power bandwidth as the frequency domain features. Let's run this section as well. So here we have the frequency feature extractor object. Likewise, we can create a time frequency feature extractor object also, so that we have all the required features for training the machine learning classifier. So we have enabled time frequency features, spectral kurtosis, skewness, instantaneous bandwidth, instantaneous frequency, and wavelet entropy. Now that we have defined the feature extractor object, next step is to extract these features from our activity signal. So the function to extract features from a signal is extract. So here, this is the syntax. We will have two inputs to the extract function. First input will be the feature extractor object, which we defined some time back. And the second input will be the signal itself, where from where we have to extract the features. Now, first, let's extract time features from all the signals. So as I mentioned, as we did for pre-processing, either we can use a for loop to extract features from signals. Since we have 7,000 plus signals, we can use a for loop and extract features from individual signals and save it to a matrix or cell array in whatever format you want. Or we can use a self-fun function. So here I am using self-fun function, which is more simpler way of processing signals in a cell array. And I am saving those time features which we extracted in a variable called time features. So here I have used the function extract, and at sig filtered is the signal, is a relevant signal where we want from where we have to extract those features. And the output for this one will be again a cell array. So for further processing and analysis, I want the features in the matrix form. So I have used the function cell to mat, which converts the cell array to matrix form. Let's run this section and see the time features which we extracted. So from the time features we extracted, the output time features is a matrix which contains all the relevant time domain features which we have set to true for the activity signal, and the size of the matrix as is expected is 7776/4, which indicates that there are 4 features we have extracted for each signal. We have 7776 signals, so we have extracted 4 features for this each signal. Now let's extract the frequency features from activity signals. The code syntax is the same. We'll be using self-fun function, and we'll finally convert the cell array to the matrix form. Let's run this section as well. So these frequency features are basically characteristics of signals that describe how its energy is distributed across different frequencies. So that is why frequency features are also important while analyzing a signal or while we are doing any type of signal classification or signal regression. So time domain features tells us how signal changes over time. So instead of just looking at how signal changes over time, we analyze which frequencies are present and how strong they are. So this is really helpful because many signals like speech signal, or if we consider a music signal or an audio signal, or signals from some machineries or vibration signal, all these signals have unique frequency patterns that can tell us a lot more about their source or condition. So extracting frequency features is equally important as time domain features. So we have extracted the frequency features. As expected, we have 5 columns indicating we have extracted 5 frequency domain features from all our signals. Now we'll extract the time frequency features from our activity signals. We have already defined the time frequency object, so we will use that, and the same syntax as how we extracted the previous 2 features. So let's extract time frequency features and save it to a variable time frequency features. And again, it will be a matrix. So finally, we will need to combine all the features we extracted to a single feature matrix. For that, we will write a code to combine these extracted features and save it to a final feature matrix called features. So here in this step, we are just concatenating whatever features we extracted till now. Time features, frequency features, and time frequency features. Let's run this section as well. So while the code is running and completing extracting the time frequency features from our signal, let's discuss a bit more about what time frequency features actually are and why they are important. So in signal processing, especially working with real world signals, like it can be an audio signal, it can be any biomedical signal, or even communication signal for that matter, we often need to analyze how the frequency content of the signal changes over time. So this part is very important to analyze how frequency content of the signal changes over time. So that's where this time frequency features come in. So unlike these basic features that we extracted some time back, like time domain features, which can be like mean, RMS, or standard deviation, or basic features like frequency features, where it talks about the power distribution or energy distribution across the signal. So we will need uh, to look at a signal in both these domains as well. So unlike these basic features that just look at the entire signal as a whole, time frequency features gives us a much richer description by showing us both when and at what frequencies certain events occur. And this is specifically very, very important when we go for applications like anomaly detection or fault detection or something like human activity recognition applications. So for extracting this time frequency features, we use techniques like short time Fourier transform or wavelet transforms, uh, or more advanced frequency domain transformations rather than the simple fast Fourier transform. So for example, if you are trying to classify different types of sounds, time frequency features can help you capture unique patterns like a sudden burst of energy at a particular frequency or a gradual change in tone. So which are very crucial for distinguishing these classes. So this is the importance of extracting time frequency features. Yeah, going back to our solution for extracting time frequency features from our activity signals. We have extracted the time frequency features, and also we have combined the features we have extracted, these three main features, time frequency features, frequency features, and time frequency features to a final feature matrix. So the final size of the feature matrix is 777 by 35, indicating we have 35 features which I have extracted for each signal. Now we will convert this feature matrix to a feature table. This is more important because you can use a matrix for machine learning, but it doesn't convey the meaning of each variable. So transitioning from a matrix to a table format helps you retain the extracted feature labels and clarify what each column represents. So we will use array to table function to convert feature matrix to a table. So we'll call the feature table as feature table variable, and we will use the function array to table for this conversion. And the input is our feature matrix. Let's also uh, visualize this feature table or display the feature table after conversion. So we have converted our feature metrics to feature table and with column headings indicating the features extracted. Now next task is to assign labels to the feature table. Remember, we have already saved our labels in a variable called labels. Now we'll just attach a new column named activity name to the feature table that contains this value. So we will use the dot indexing property feature table dot activity name, which will add a new column, and this new column will have the labels content. Let's display the final feature table and interpret the results. Now we have a table, an additional column is also added, which makes it size 7776 by 36. And we have assigned values from the labels array to a new column and named activity name in the feature table. So till now, we have completed 3 steps, that is importing the signals and labels. We have done some pre-processing to the signals, and we have also extracted meaningful features from our signals. Next step in our workflow or to solve our engineering problem today is model training and evaluation. So we'll be using a machine learning classifier today. So for that, we will use an app in MATLAB, which is called Classification Learner app. To open the Classification Learner app, you can go to the Apps tab, the Tools strip, and locate for Classification Learner. This will be under the section Machine Learning and Deep Learning. So click on Classification Learner app. Which will where you will see the app window. You can also open the Classification Learner app by executing the command Classification Learner in the command window or the editor window. So the Classification Learner app is opened here. Now let's start the new session and import the required feature table to the Classification Learner app. For that, first click on New Session button and click on the option from Workspace. So here we will select the data set which we will use to train our machine learning classifier. So under the dataset variable, we'll select the feature table which we created in the previous step, feature table, and it will automatically identify if there is a response variable here. So we have the label saved in column activity name, which is already identified here. And in the right side, you can see a validation section. Validation is a process to evaluate a model's performance on unseen data. So why validation is important is because it ensures model reliability on new data and helps in model selection and tuning. And in the validation scheme, we have 3 options here. Cross-validation, holdout validation, and resubstitution validation. We'll be using cross-validation for today's example. And the default value for cross-validation fold is already set to 5. So to talk a bit about cross-validation, what it is, it partitions the data into several folds. So systematically using some for training and others for testing. So there will be an iterative approach going on with this cross-validation number, which we have set. This iterative approach ensures every data point is used for both training and testing, which results in providing a comprehensive evaluation of the model performance. And we will set some portion of our data set as test data set, we can check this box under the test option to set aside a test data set. And also we can define what percentage of the data set is set for testing data set and what percentage is for training data set. So let's set some 30% of our data set as testing data set. So automatically remaining 70% will be set as training data set. Now click on start session. So once you click on start session, you will see that automatically by default, the tree model is populated here, which is not trained right now. It is in the draft stage, which you can see on the left side. The fine tree model is selected and it is in the draft stage. And also you can see on the panel the scatter plot of the feature table or feature metrics we have selected. So this is a complete visualization of the features for these activity signals. On the first analysis itself, you can see that there are some good overlaps between many of these classes. If you take an example of sitting class and standing class, many features are getting overlapped here. So now we need to select a model which can classify or recognize these signals correctly. So today we will use an SVM classifier, which is support vector machine classifier, to do the human activity recognition. So under model section, the Learns tab, you can see an option called models. Click on this down arrow where you can see many machine learning classifier or many machine learning models. So for today's example, let's select the Cubic SVM. Click on Cubic Support Vector Machine. And you will see that the model is being populated on the left side, the model section. And it's in the draft stage right now. We are not going to change any hyperparameters for now. And let's see the what is the training accuracy after training this Cubic SVM. So for training this model, click on the down arrow on this train all button and select on train selected. Click on train selected, which will start training the model. We have 35 features. So all the features are used here to train this Cubic SVM. Let's wait till the training is completed, till the Cubic SVM training is completed. So talking about the SVM, so SVM has different kernels. And for this run, I have selected the Cubic SVM. So in support vector machine or SVM, the kernel function is what allows us to transform our input data into higher dimensional space. With the cubic kernel, we are using a polynomial of degree 3. This means that the classifier we are using isn't just fitting a straight line like we have a linear SVM, we have a straight line or simple curve, which we have in quadratic SVM. So here in cubic SVM, it's able to draw more flexible and wavy boundaries between classes, which is well suited for classes if they have overlapping features. So our cubic SVM has completed the training, and the training accuracy is come to 78%. And also we can visualize in the confusion metrics as well to analyze the results or to analyze the model performance. So talking about the confusion metrics, a confusion metrics provides a detailed breakdown of the model's performance by showing the number of correct and incorrect predictions for each class. It's particularly useful for evaluating classification models with multiple classes. So if you analyze the confusion metrics here, On the left side, you can see the true class, and on the bottom, you have the predicted class. We have 4 classes here. So all the diagonal elements here, which is colored in blue, shows that it is rightly classified or rightly identified. And all the off diagonal elements shows that the model is being confused or it is misclassified. For example, if you take running as a true class, 908 signals is being rightly classified or identified as running class, and one of the running class signal is being misclassified as standing, and 95 running class or running class signals is being misclassified as walking. Similarly, if you take another example of standing class. So in standing class, 1020 signals under standing is rightly classified or recognized as standing, and some of the signals are misclassified. Around 559 signals is being misclassified as sitting class, which we already expected, right? Because in the scatter plot, if you remember, there was a pretty good overlap between standing and sitting. So this has been seen in this confusion matrix as well. There are other ways which you can analyze the results, like ROC curve or precision recall curve or parallel coordinates. And you can see those in the plots and results section of the classification learner app. Now, if you want to test with the test data set which we reserved for from our activity signal data set, let's go to the test tab in the classification learner app and click on test selected. So we are going to see the accuracy and the confusion metrics for the test data set for the same cubic SVM. So let's select cubic SVM and click on the test tab and select test selected. So now we will see that the accuracy for the test dataset is 78.4, which is kind of acceptable accuracy for these many signals, 7776 signals we had, and we have got a pretty good accuracy rate. And if you analyze the confusion metrics, so the confusion metrics for the test won't appear automatically. You have to go to the plots and results tab, results section in the test tab, and click on confusion metrics test. So this will give the confusion metrics for test data set. So as I mentioned before, some of the signals are rightly classified, which you can see the number in the diagonal elements, and the off diagonal elements of the confusion metric indicates which classes are being confused and misclassified, and what are those numbers. So this is how we use an SVM classifier to identify the activities performed. The same workflow, you can use it for any type of signals, only that you have to identify those features which is relevant for those for that particular application. You can try out different models as well. There are different kernels of SVM, like linear SVM, quadratic SVM, based on the application. So to improve the accuracy, we have an option called feature selection or PCA. So when you click on feature selection, it will give different feature ranking algorithm. Let's see what it gives, what does the rank each features using this MR algorithm. So if you click on this, it will show among these 35 features, what is this MR score for each of these features. So which indicates which features are relevant and which we can discard during the training. And likewise, we have different feature ranking algorithm. Another algorithm is chi-square algorithm, where you can see these feature 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. These are most relevant features which is relevant for our activity data set. So likewise, you can improve the test accuracy and training accuracy for our signal. Now to export the model, you have an option called export. You can export the model as into workspace, or you can even export to the Simulink model. Hence, we come to the end of the session where we have used Classification Learner app. All the instructions for using the Classification Learner app is being added in this live script, which you can refer for future applications. And there are some additional resources also, which you can use for any of your future projects or examples. So to summarize what we have done today. So in this example, we tackled a real-world engineering challenge of classifying human activities using noisy accelerometer data from smartphones. We started with importing the signals, started from accessing and visualizing raw sensor signals, and then going ahead with cleaning and pre-processing the data, extracting relevant features, and finally training and evaluating the machine learning model. We used an SVM classifier for today's example. So in the signal pre-processing step, we applied a high-pass filtering where we were able to reduce noise and isolate the dynamic components of movement in the activity signal. And the feature extraction allowed us to translate complex high-dimensional signals into meaningful numerical descriptors, which made it possible for machine learning algorithms to distinguish between different activities. And in the training machine learning algorithm, we used support vector machine classifier to distinguish between different human activities based on the features extracted from the accelerometer data. And we got accuracy of 78% in classifying the human activity signal. So thank you. Thank you for joining the session. We can end the session now.